So this is just going to be a sort of a house overview, kind of slightly different direction for the channel. Maybe not, I'll stick to it. I thought about doing quite a few kind of house overviews. Now I'm going to start with April Aromatics. Now it's not going to be a complete house overview because the video would run too long, so I'm going to do my 7 favourites. But of course, if you know I've got this fragrance and you're curious about it, I'm perfectly happy to talk about it in the video, or just ask me. We don't need a video. But yeah, I'm going to start doing a few house overviews because I've got quite a number of houses where I've got a few from. Some are samples, some are bottles. It's given me a good enough knowledge of the houses to be able to speak about them. Now, April Aromatics is a German house, and the perfumer and the runner of the business is Tanja Botsching. I've probably murdered a name there. And based in the beautiful country of Germany. And yeah, like I say, they're based all around natural ingredients. Obviously, they're not 100% natural, because you know they couldn't be, but on a whole they're up there as natural fragrances. So don't be expecting, you know, super beast mode in your face slapping party scents to give it. They're not that sort of fragrance, but that's not to say that they don't last or project, etc, etc, if that's your kind of game. Some of them do really quite well, actually. They're also vegan to a point. There are ingredients such as beeswax in some of them, which obviously changes that. But yeah, it's a beautiful house, ran by somebody who's very sort of conscious of the world and uses the best things and local ingredients as well. So, April Aromatics, I'll get started. So yeah, you'll be glad to hear I'm not going to go too much into depth and go on too much. It's more an introduction to my favourite fragrances. Like I said, I'm perfectly happy to go through more of them if anybody wants it. Anyway, first up is Lotus Rising, which is my most recent purchase. It was probably what I smelt about a year ago. And like the name suggests, and like I've mentioned quite a lot, it's kind of all about a lotus. I think the description of it kind of describes the lotuses growing through the mud and up into the beautiful streams, rivers, what have you. But to me, this one is like that, but it's more like a more beautiful kind of... you do get the lovely dark earthiness in there, but it's also about kind of the beautiful sweetness of the lotuses, and I see water lilies too, and just that kind of peaceful calmness of them sort of transcending across the water surface and stuff. I know they don't literally do that, but that's how you kind of see it. And apparently this one uses vintage ingredients, which is why it's quite rare and quite a special one, which again adds to the beauty. And it's not just that lovely soft floral sweet beauty, it's also got touches of greenness, you know, the leaves and stuff, what it creates in your mind, and it's that sort of like watery aquatic one. It is just an unbelievably beautiful and quite unique, because don't forget, we don't smell lotus a lot in fragrances, so it's very unique, very transcending, very peaceful and serene. It's just unbelievably beautiful, like a lotus flower is. So yeah, that's kind of the first one, Lotus Rising. So the next one is Nectar of Love. This was the first one I kind of got. That wasn't a sample. This was, for me, as you can imagine, my taste, kind of a love at first sniff. Just a magnificent one. Now, as the name suggests, and as again I've said, it is starts off like just this big field, river, sea, ocean of rose petals, flower petals, all sorts of petals, including rose, but lots of sweet, nectary, vibrant, moist petals. It's just absolutely magnificent. And then it starts to kind of get a little bit of greenness in there again, like real flowers, like you're smelling flowers out in nature. There's little touches of an indolic kind of feel about it, like again, like real flowers out there. And there's also that kind of honey-like nectar running through it all. It's magnificent. It's quite sumptuous and full. And as well as that, there's also a little bit of a sharpness there, like again, a kind of natural thing, possibly neroli and things like. But it all works together. And to me, this is a bee in his day of rolling about in flowers, shoving his bum everywhere, all sticky and gooey and sweet from the nectar, and all the other bees getting happy and drunk off that beautiful smell. So next up is an obvious favourite for me, and that's Jasmina, or Jasmina. Well, it's Jas, it's German. Anyway, it's basic, well, quite obviously, it's all about the beautiful flower of jasmine. Now, to me, this is more of like a summery kind of jasmine. It's got obviously the greenness, the natural greenness of the jasmine there, making you think of them beautiful meadows. It does have tiny indolic touches, but what it also has to it is it has little hints of citrus, and to my nose, there's something like ylang. I'm pretty sure there's ylang in it, which adds that warmth, that summer warmth to it, like the sunshine shining through them, and gives it a little bit of richness and thickness. It's just a magnificently beautiful jasmine fragrance. If you like jasmine and you like the idea of a kind of summer jasmine thing, I think you're really going to love this one. And to be quite honest, I'll keep this one brief because there's not much else to say about it. It does develop and change. The greenness comes and goes. Well, I suppose you could kind of call it jasmine through the spring into the summer then, with that beaming warmth and sunshine. So that's Jasmina. So yeah, next up is Purple Rein, and you're probably starting to notice a pattern that obviously I warm towards the more floral ones like I do with any fragrances, and these, because these are so natural smelling, they're even more me, they're even more addictive. I surround my house with flowers, except I have a touch of death, and I love natural flowers and flowers in the fields. Anyway, I'm waffling. This one's called Purple Rein, so you can probably imagine, again, one of my favourites. It's all purple flowers, but it's like purple flowers in this country are generally wild flowers, and they're outside and they have this dryness and this certain sweetness, and that's kind of what this is. Lilacs, hyacinths, I think there's even a touch of violet in there. So it's all these lovely purple, sweet, gooey loveliness with a dry purpleness to it. I think there might even be a bit of lavender in it, giving a freshness. And then there's the kind of the kind of purple flowers you see in the meadows. Lilac's got that also, that sticky sweet dryness, which sounds like a contradiction, but that's what it's like. And this one's just a magnificent purple floral, if you like. Not too sweet, not too much. Just very natural smelling. And purples tend to make me think of the wildflowers I get going round me. Not very lucky with flowers, but there's a lot of purple when it starts to get really hot. And this is that kind of summer purple smell. So Purple Rein. So next up is Rosenlust. Now, we all know I'm a bit of a fussy bugger with roses. This one, though, is rose heaven in every way imaginable. Again, like a lot of them, there's the elements of all the petals and the stems. This is roses, but this is a million, well, not a million, but this is many different types of roses. This is your greener, fresher rose. This is like your English garden bitter rose. This is a full, sweet, gorgeous Turkish, Bulgarian, voluptuous rose. This is a rose coming from, some sort of heavenly place, all soft and gentle and powdery. It's got every single element of all the roses you can imagine in there. Probably not literally, but it's also got the greenness, the wateriness, like I say, the powderiness, that soft kiss of a rose. It's just, again, it's not one I need to go into masses of detail about. It's just utter rose heaven. If you like rose, you're more than likely to love this. It's got all the things in it, but it is all about the roses. Even candied roses and stuff in it. It is just magnificent, and I do adore this. Probably one of my favourite roses ever. So that is Rosenlust. Now then, this one, Tempted Muse, is a more interesting one, a trickier one for me, because we know what a fickle person I am and the way I kind of adverse to the sharper notes. Now then, this is the most beautiful, wonderful, warm, tropical kind of floral fragrance. I think there's frangipanis, like a tropical tuberose, lots of other kind of tropical florals. So it's kind of thick and it's petally and it's full of sunshine, and oh, it's beautiful. We know how much I've kind of warmed to my tropical florals. There's also a kind of fruitiness in there. I'm not sure what from. Maybe some of the florals are quite fruity. Maybe there's some fruits in there. But what there is there's also a grapefruit. Sometimes it doesn't bother me at all. Sometimes it can be a little on the sharp side. But this could be in my top 3, or it could be where it is now. I adore this one, but sometimes not quite in the mood for it. But it's a beautiful, beautiful tropical floral. So that's tempted. So the final one. Now this could have been pink wood or something, but I wanted to go a little bit away from the florals. So it's Calling All Angels. Now, as the name suggests, this is quite spiritual's the right word, quite ethereal, kind of calming and spacey, you know what I mean? It's more around, there is a sweetness from the rose and the honey in this, but it's more around kind of resins, sweet resins and incense. So I think there's frankincense, there's sweet myrrh, there's elemi, giving it sort of a slightly, to me, woody, bitter touch. There's woodiness, obviously, and it's this kind of beautiful, calm. It's like the name suggests, just this calm, spiritual, like you're sitting in a kind of temple kind of fragrance, pondering the world. It's so beautifully done, and it's so much like actually being there, surrounded by all these burning resins and incense. It just gives you that warm feeling of comfort. And as you know, I do like these kind of incensey ones, and this is absolutely top notch, as you'd expect. So that is Calling All Angels. So yeah, this was brief. Too brief in my opinion, far too brief, even for just talking about so few. I would have liked to go into more depth. They deserve more time, because they're all so beautifully made, so beautifully kind of thought out. Just stunning works of art, but very wearable works, just like really being around the ingredients that are in them in true nature. There's so many, again, that should have been in the top 7, and there are more than another 10 left that I didn't talk about. I mean, again, like I said, feel free to ask me. I could do a part 2, I'd be quite happy to. It's not that the ones that didn't make it into this one I didn't like, because I did. There's just some truly beautiful fragrances. These just happen to be my favourites. So yeah, the house itself, like I said, gave a little introduction about it, but go check them out. I'm not an advertiser, whatever, it's up to you. But they do the travel sizes, which you've seen, which are a little bit more affordable. They do obviously the 35ml bottles. They have roll-ons for meditation and yoga and things like that. She has quite a large range. Something for everyone, really. And if you're really curious about natural perfumery and what naturals smell like, and the power of them and just how good they can be, I'd definitely recommend checking out Tanya's April Aromatics. So yeah, again, sorry it was so brief, but you know, I've got to kind of fit these in, and I know I didn't do justice to them. But anyway, thank you for watching. What about you? What are your kind of favourite natural fragrances? Do you go for natural fragrances? Do you like synthetics or a nice mix? I mean, you know, someone loves everything. Also, have you tried any of the others, the roll-ons from Tanya? Alright, thanks for